Welcome back to Northwoods Pursuit, your home for real hunting stories and action from the wild. Get out there. Today, the first wild boar eradication campaign of the year has officially begun. In close coordination between local residents and the authorities, we headed straight into the hot zones, areas that have been overrun by wild boars for months. Don't miss our next adventures. Hit that subscribe button and join us in the hunt. Wild boars aren't just crop destroyers. They're aggressive, unpredictable animals that will go after livestock and can seriously injure anyone unlucky enough to cross their path. The moment we reached the rendezvous point, there was no time for small talk. We locked in our scopes and swept the terrain. Then we saw them, a massive herd moving through the brush. Once everything was in position, the hunt was on. Hitting a target at that distance was no easy feat, but years of experience paid off. We dropped a few right away, then adjusted our scopes and pressed on. More went down as they bolted for cover under the trees. Suddenly, another boar broke into view. I held the crosshairs steady, squeezed the trigger, and watched it roll down the hillside. A few others nearby weren't quick enough to get away. Many still vanished into the shadows. After the earlier clash, we shifted to a new ambush point, thinking the action might slow down. We were wrong. Out of nowhere, a massive wild boar burst into view. Before we could adjust, it veered sharply and came thundering straight at us, eyes blazing with rage. Instinct took over. Gunfire erupted in a rapid burst, and I dropped the beast just before it could barrel into our line. Later, from a perch high on a mountain ridge, we caught sight of a herd tucked deep in the brush. We stayed still, letting the moment ripen. When they finally stepped into the open, we struck hard. The team moved as one, each shot finding its mark on those massive, black-coated brutes. One after another, they hit the ground, the echoes of gunfire rolling through the valley. As we crossed into another mountain range, the wild boars seemed to multiply. Up ahead, a herd was climbing the hillside, their movements sharp and easy to track through the scope. No time to waste, I locked in and opened fire. Bullets tore through the air, dropping one boar after another. Then, from a nearby thicket, a massive brute exploded into the open. My reflexes kicked in one clean headshot, and it crumpled where it stood. Still, in the chaos, a few managed to slip away. From a high vantage point overlooking the valley, we spotted another herd, more than 10 strong, charging through the open at full speed. Shots rang out, taking down several, but fresh groups kept pouring in. Charging straight after them wasn't getting the job done, so we adapted. Splitting into smaller teams, we positioned ourselves in a wide net. The ambush worked like clockwork. No target made it past us.
By contrast,
by afternoon, we found ourselves in the open fields at the base of the hill, and that's when the true scale of the problem hit us. These boars weren't just big. They were enormous, built like tanks, and fast enough to vanish in seconds. Getting within range on foot was nearly impossible, so we had to bring in vehicles to close the gap. The moment they stepped into our sights, we squeezed the triggers. The terrain here was wide and easy to navigate, but that didn't make the job simple. At the first shots, the herd exploded in every direction, forcing us to track targets on the run. We managed to drop several, but it was a constant battle. Even in a region teeming with boars, hunting them is no walk in the park. They've learned to recognize gunfire, and now they're sharper, quicker, and far harder to pin down. By the time the sun began to dip, our bodies ached and our focus was shot. We called it for the day, ready to regroup, rearm, and hit the fields again at first light. Wild boars are more than a nuisance. They're an invasive force, tearing through farmland, shredding habitats, and carrying a cocktail of dangerous diseases. Left unchecked, their population can explode, unleashing damage that's nearly impossible to reverse. This morning, we set out with one mission: find them and stop them. Every moment was high stakes, every encounter a battle. With their sharp noses and uncanny instincts, our dogs locked onto a scent and took off. Moments later, a dark shape broke across the snow-covered ground, charging like a thunderhead rolling in. Before it could vanish into the tangled undergrowth, I raised my rifle. One steady squeeze of the trigger, and the shot echoed across the frozen air. We climbed higher into the hills, launching our drone to get eyes on the boar's movements, and it proved to be the perfect call. Down below, our dogs were locked in, chasing hard with incredible speed. The pursuit broke into an open field, giving us a clean line of fire. My first shot cracked through the valley, but the boar kept pushing. Determined not to let it slip away, I fired again. This time it staggered, fighting to stay on its feet and reach cover. We knew if we didn't finish the job now, they'd be back within weeks, leaving an even bigger trail of destruction. Wasting no time, our seasoned hunting crew formed a plan. We split into smaller squads, sealing off every possible escape route. The tallest ridge became our lookout. The climb was brutal. Bare branches clawed at us, and the rocky ground tested every step. Then through the trees, a shadow took shape in the distance. The hunt was about to get real. The boar made a break for it, but our seasoned hunting dog cut it off, blocking its escape. Cornered and desperate, the beast lowered its head and charged, ready for a final stand. I steadied my aim, keeping my sights locked as it thundered closer. One squeeze of the trigger, the shot tore through the air, dropping it in its tracks. Across the hill, my teammates' rifles barked in unison. The hunt ended in a haze of gun smoke and quiet satisfaction of victory. With daylight fading fast, we pushed on, determined to make every moment count. From the crest of a high ridge, I spotted a herd of wild boars grazing in the open, completely unaware of the danger above. Years of experience shaped our next move. We settled in, controlled our breathing, and lined up the shots. The first rifle crack split the evening air, sending the herd into chaos. They bolted in every direction, but we were ready, and none would escape easily. A relentless wave of gunfire cut off the herd's escape. Nearly a dozen went down. Only 2 slipped away. Our hunting dogs tore across the field like seasoned warriors, scanning every shadow, every tree line. Their growls were sharp, their focus unshakable. Then, out of nowhere, a boar burst across my path. This was it. I stepped forward, raised my rifle, and squeezed the trigger. The round punched through its thick hide, and the animal let out a raw, furious roar before crumpling to the ground. It hadn't even settled in the dirt before our dogs closed in, claiming their prize. But before we could catch our breath, they erupted into a frenzy, barking, snarling, circling a dense patch of brush. Something was in there. The energy shifted. This wasn't just another straggler. I felt the tension tighten in my chest as we raised our rifles, ready for whatever was about to break through. Hunting isn't just about the thrill. It's about responsibility. Every pull of the trigger should have purpose, and every hunt should serve the balance of the land. Wild boars may test our skill and endurance, but managing their numbers protects our farms, our forests, and the wildlife that call them home. Out here, every decision matters, and every shot counts. So stay safe, hunt smart, and respect the wild. If you enjoyed riding along with us today, make sure to subscribe and stick around. Our next hunt is already on the horizon, and you won't want to miss what's coming.